Attorney O.J. Elrington, the rape charge against him withdrawn. We'll tell you why. And he tells us how he'll have to move differently now. And twice charged for sex trafficking, twice got off. We'll tell you about Reina Urbina. Also, we'll take you out on the waters to meet the Ranza River cruisers. Plus, we'll talk to the city's new deputy mayor, who's also the old deputy mayor. We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight, March 3rd, 2026. Good evening. With your news, I'm Indra Craig.
This newscast is brought to you by Cellular World, your authorized Samsung distributor.
Shop smart for your Samsung devices in Belize and enjoy benefits you won't get anywhere else. When you shop locally for your Samsung, all your devices will be covered by a 1-year local warranty. You won't get that when shopping with the other guys. When in doubt, always look for the Cellular World seal to know you're getting the real deal. Shop with confidence and enjoy your Galaxy knowing that it can be repaired locally at our Samsung Service Center by certified Samsung technicians using original parts and machinery. Even better, enjoy the best LTE experience in Belize, knowing that your Samsung devices are compatible with major local carrier networks. Get the ultimate Samsung Galaxy experience only when you shop from authorized Samsung resellers nationwide.
At the Ministry of Infrastructure Development and Housing, we continue to showcase the work of our Road Maintenance Unit. The RMU program, one of the most impactful of this administration, is more than clean roads and clean communities. It is about providing meaningful employment in these communities. We remain committed to the development of our country through upliftment of our people.
I'm from Road Unit and I'm a laborer. We do all kind of work. We clean up the roadside, like chop most of the time now, what I basically do.
We chop, pick up garbage, patch the road, pave, do all different kind of things.
We even grab a machine one that time.
We work each one of the village, we work on the highway. We do garbage picking on all of the village too.
I'm driving that bush hog, chopping the areas and chopping the roadside, going to George Price Highway, going to Belize.
We're here in Ontario Village. We're here opening roads so that farmers and different persons that have lands to the back here have accessibility. We had to cut through the hill to build a road.
I'm glad that they have a job with Road Unit because a lot of them come off the street and they love this opportunity that they get, and I'm happy for them.
I get this job and it helped me a lot.
I used to live on the road, on the street, just the boat, just the knock boat. So this job really helped me a lot because otherwise from that I could have really done say I could have been part of the jailer and up dead. But so I really thank God for this job and what's not.
Sometimes I work with certain people and then when the payday come, they only give us certain money and I get all the money. But with the government now, I think your money sure. So that's one thing I like and I appreciate.
Well, it helped me out a lot and things to stay out of trouble, to do the right thing.
If you don't want to do nothing, you get crazy and lazy. So you rather do something and stay by the highway, right? So I proud to work the MIDH, man.
It helped me and my family in many ways. Take me off of the streets. I have a good job and provide for my family. And the pay, not bad at all.
Connecticut is hard. Sometimes you don't meet the bills. It's hard. Catch and kill, you don't meet the bills on time. But this job is steady, so it saves me a lot.
We do a little chopping for the La Guta Maya.
Mostly chopping, cleaning the area, pick up garbage, so that people could come along here and feel safe and watch the Ruta Maya and enjoy themselves.
I live on the road, and I even know people, but I know they're glad to say they go to chop because I live on the road every day and they blow me, and I even know the whole, but they say the highway look good, They say anything where we do with the machine, because I work for MIDH, anything where we do look good, they heal up, you know. So I know that was a good job to do, so.
I feel good the city upgrade and thing and help out people and think that they have to help out people.
I do it for the kids, and I have kids too, I think, for the future. Everybody at the village.
They did a hell of a great job here cleaning up the village.
Since the cleanup has started, it's been a big impact on our village. Oh, it's a huge difference. The villagers are happy.
Have a vision? We've got what you need. From idea to install, Brothers Habet. All your building needs under one roof.
Imagine, a ref calls a technical on LeBron, ejects him, then walks to the bench, puts on a jersey, and checks into the game to take LeBron's place. WTH? That's what happened at the central bank. First, Kareem Michael was a deputy governor for financial supervision, basically the referee for the banks. And while he was in charge of that department, Choice Banks' license was cancelled. Not too long after, Mr. Michael resigned from the central bank and went as a paid private contractor to run the shutdown of the same Choice Bank. When he was finished, he simply walked right back into his old job at the central bank. Who does that? An arrogant Belizean public servant who knows all and thinks he's too big for his judgment to be questioned by anyone.
Hello, I am Dr. Rosado, a pediatrician, and today I want to talk to parents about rotavirus and how we can protect our children. Rotavirus is a virus that causes severe water, diarrhea, and vomiting. This can lead to severe dehydration and may require hospitalization if not treated promptly. The good news is that diarrhea caused by rotavirus is preventable by vaccines. The vaccine is safe, effective, and available at all nearest health centers. It is given in drops orally at 2, 4, and 6 months of age. Protect your child against severe diarrhea. Visit your nearest clinic today.
I think that this program has benefited my parents because now they don't have to pay for my tuition, so they can use that on other expenses for the house or for me personally, and they don't have to pay for my electronics either because I'm given one. My major is one of the most expensive ones that they have here at Sacred Heart. It makes me feel a lot more comfortable that it's completely covered and my parents don't have to worry about it.
I can see that it has benefited especially parents who have more than one children at school, because they are no longer worrying about where the money will come, for them to pay the tuition for their kids. We have a lot of parents who are single parents, and for them especially, this has been a great blessing.
I have 3 other siblings, and the financial burden is really great. And so with me having a free education, they could focus more on my brothers and 2 other sisters' education and not worry on my financial needs. They could focus more on them and not have to worry about me.
Years gone by, not anybody could have afforded Sacred Heart College. And now with this in place, it surely have impacted a lot of our families. Now we are really out of space for students because now everybody, they want to come to Sacred Heart College because of this program that we have in place.
BTL has already agreed to pay severance compensation to former employees that qualify.
BTL's board has approved that we want to pay, that the company wants to move forward without delay,
and settle with everybody.
But leaders of BCWJ who claim to represent those former employees insist on continuing to protest.
We continue protesting.
Reasonable minds have been asking, why? Here's the answer. The activist senator who is pushing them actually owns a company that submitted to BTL a bill of $183,000 at the rate of $900 an hour for legal advice allegedly provided to BCWJ. And now an internal chat reveals leaders of BCWJ want the former workers to pay them commission from their severance compensation. The proposition reads, everyone should give Emily, Mike, and the other leaders a contribution for their great help in all this. Continued protests are profitable under BCWJ banner. Not so much for the former workers, but for the leaders of BCWJ. It's not only making sense, it's making dollars.
At Atlantic Bank, your convenience is our priority. Our contact center is designed to enhance your banking experience. With a wide range of customer service options, you save time and effort. You can easily call in to block or unblock your debit and credit cards, perform account inquiries, and access detailed card information. Whether you need assistance with online banking, merchant support, or general inquiries, our team is ready to help. For added convenience, if all operators are busy, you can leave your number and an operator will return your call as soon as possible to ensure you receive the support you need. Depending on your transaction type, we may need to verify your identity through a set of security questions. And remember, Atlantic Bank will never request your username or password for Atlantic Online via phone call, text, or email, ensuring your personal information remains safe and secure. Our support team is available Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in both English and Spanish. Simply dial 223-1212. This is a dedicated line for our contact center. Atlantic Bank is committed to providing you with exceptional service and the tools you need to manage your finances conveniently and securely. Take full advantage of our easy-to-use contact center services today.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
In March of 2024, it was huge news when prominent political figure and attorney O.J. Elrington was charged for 2 counts of rape. But tonight, his legal saga is over. The charge has been withdrawn. The charge stemmed from an alleged incident that took place in January of 2024 involving 2 women he had met at the Thirsty Thursdays nightclub and invited to his home. Elrington proceeded to trial in the High Court in February of this year, with the DPP Sherilyn Vidal herself prosecuting. But that trial ended today before it could really begin. And that's because all charges were withdrawn against him. Jo Marie Lanza was at the High Court.
The DPP Sherilyn Vidal, the accused Orson J. Elrington, and his attorney Alifa Elrington came to the High Court at 11 o'clock this morning for what was all but a foregone conclusion. Hours earlier, 7 News had confirmed that the DPP would enter into a nulla pros motion. And when they went to court, that's exactly what happened. In a session that took less than 3 minutes, where Elrington was advised that the charge was withdrawn. Outside the court, Elrington expressed his relief.
This has been the most difficult and darkest period in my life. I must thank, secondly, my legal team, of course my learned friend Alifa, Senior Counsel Wilfred Elrington. I feel a sense of immense relief because, again, this, as I said, is a burden that you carry every single day. You know, I'm a practitioner before the courts. While I know the law and I thought that there was absolutely no way grounded in law that could be able to support a guilty verdict in this matter, we're dealing with courts, we're dealing with humans, and so they're not infallible, right? So With that, of course, there's some level of anxiety. But again, I have trust in the justice system. I have trust in my legal team and the number of persons who supported us.
For his attorney, she is satisfied with the outcome, but says justice was still not served.
While I believe that this matter should not have been brought before the court from its inception, I feel slightly cheated because at the end of the day, what we were fighting for was for what transpired to come out and for the truth to come out. At this point in time, even though some would say it's a vindication of Mr. Elrington, if we look back over the last 2 years and we look at the things that have been said in the media, the statements that have been made against Mr. Elrington, it cannot be a vindication because the facts have not come out, the truth have not come out, and so this is the difficulty that I have. We will take it. We will take it because we don't believe it should have been brought before the court from the inception. So it cannot be that he has received justice because the information that would have vindicated him did not come out to the public.
But did the prosecution withdraw because the victims had cold feet? Elrington says that's a question for the office of the DPP.
Might that, though, have had an intimidatory or chilling effect on the witness, knowing that the defense is seeking to have them visualized and cross-examined in open court?
If that had a chilling effect on the victim, Jules, that's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to fight vigorously for my client, is to defend my client to the best of my ability. Persons would have known me as a prosecutor. I prosecuted cases to the best of my ability, and I defend cases to the best of my ability. What is the situation with the victim is for the office of the DPP. And the office of the DPP should have ensured that the victim knew this was a possibility and did what they needed to do to ensure that the victim was secure enough to be able to come and testify. However, I do not believe that that is what intimidated this victim. I do not believe. And if the facts had come out, like we wanted the facts to come out, I am sure persons would understand why the victim did not. Well, I can't say the victim did not, but persons would understand why they're entering an olipros at this point in time.
Jo Marie Lanza, 7 News.
The case has had an effect on Elrington as an attorney, but also on his reputation as a public figure and former politician. And so we asked him whether this ordeal will prompt him to make changes to his lifestyle when socializing. Here's how he answered us.
Will you change your lifestyle in terms of, whenever you engage with people in social nighttime settings, there's a level of trust and
of course, you have to be able to examine a situation, and you have to move differently. Because I have always been a person that I have trust in everybody. I have trust in everybody, and I treat nobody differently, and I don't assume nobody to be a threat. I used to brag I can travel any part of this country without fear, because I did not believe that I had enemies like that. I knew I had political enemies, but the political enemies, and I thought that you cross the line when you're talking about political enemies. But I never in my life felt threatened to go anywhere, to be anywhere by myself.
And while he's never felt threatened, even if he does, Elrington has a whole online media house behind him. He's known to be the moving hand behind Hot Off the Press, a Facebook news page. And in January of 2024, when the charges first arose, that site posted videos of his accusers in Thirsty Thursday's nightclub on the same night that the alleged rape occurred. The post then insinuated that the women had been socializing in the company of several men and that they are the ones who approached Elrington asking about an after-party. The post was seen as an attempt to intimidate his accusers through the abuse of the news page. When we asked him about that today, he said, "It wasn't me."
Do you regret the manner in which your news blog, Hot Off the Press, was used against the virtual complainants at the beginning?
Absolutely not. Why?
In terms of putting out certain details?
The persons, again, you see, there's a misnomer in these situations. And every time I hear it, I cringe. When I hear the word victim, I cringe because a victim is a person who has suffered some harm that comes with certain connotations towards it. And I will be clear, if I have never been clear before, while I am a partner in certain, I don't write stories and I don't dictate and I don't intervene. And I tell people this all the time. Just like does Mose tell you what to publish? No, he does not. And that is with any media well, that is people who are ignorant of the facts of how media works, is that it's a large organization. There are over 50 independent contributors, and we don't dictate. We're a platform that allows people to be able to ventilate their opinions. And the only time I intervene is if there is some issue of that might cause for defamation. That is when I intervene as legal counsel as a part of it. I am just a part of a network, just like everybody else. Just like everybody else, I'm just a part of a network.
Those in the know would suggest he's at the top of that network, but that aside, that platform was used to identify the victims. And when his attorney requested to have the victim give her testimony in open court and not in camera or closed court, well, it sent a signal that it was gloves off and that the blanket protection, which is always automatically afforded to victims of sex crimes, might not apply in this case. We asked his attorney why she went that route.
We are talking about victims' rights. I have no difficulty with victim rights. Victim rights should happen from the inception. From the time a victim comes, then you invoke those rights, you protect them, you do what you have to do to take care of them, not trying in any way to take away from the defendant's rights. So we're already a situation where the defendant is nobody's going to hear the defendant's side except a judge. And we're not allowing the public, who has said so many different things, to actually hear what it is that my client was accused of. Man, Channel 7 put out the release in relation to the nulla prosequi, and the comments underneath it, the comments alone, I am sure persons will continue to say that there was some payoff, there's some victimization, there's some whatever in relation to this matter, and that is why we were fighting to have it open so everybody knows and understands what transpired. The reason why we fought so hard is because the facts of these cases, this particular case, is very different from any other rape case, alleged rape case that you would have. Even the case that they made reference to, Whitfield Flowers, that case spoke of such violence, such degradation to a woman, that I can understand why it is that you would have wanted to do that in camera. This case is different. There's nothing that spoke to trauma. There's nothing that spoke to any degradation. There's nothing that spoke to violence. There's nothing that spoke to force. All things that you would want to say, yes, I can understand a person going through a traumatic experience recounting this evidence. There's nothing to that effect. But we to just assume that, well, it's going to be in camera because it's going to be easier for somebody to tell the story. That's not how it's supposed to be.
Today in court, Justice Nigel Pilgrim, that is, offered to give his ruling on that preliminary matter, but the defense declined. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll talk to the new deputy mayor, who is also the old deputy mayor. And ahead of next year's municipals, the town boundaries change. The chief elections officer will explain. Don't go away.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
When the job demands more, Milwaukee Power Tools are designed to handle the toughest jobs on the construction site. If it's speed, durability, and performance you need, Milwaukee is the perfect choice. For unstoppable power at an unbeatable price, make it Milwaukee. Nothing but heavy duty. Available at Benny's. Quality and savings.
The NEBL is blazing hot and it's only week 3. And we have another set of marquee matchups this weekend. On Friday night, the Belmopan Trojans try to defend the capital city against the big bad Belize City Defenders at the UB Gymnasium, 8 p.m. Then on Saturday night, the red-hot Orange Walk Running Rebels takes on the sharp-shooting Kaya Western Ballers at the Orange Walk Sporting Complex at 8 p.m. And in Dangriga, the Dream Ballers host their first home game against the Warriors from the North, the Corazal Spartans at 8 p.m. Giveaways at all games at the end of the first and third quarter. Plus, the big halftime, $5,000 cash, Ministry of Tourism, Youth, Sports and Diaspora Relations Shooting Challenge. The NEBL Girls plus more. So this weekend, make it a NEBL weekend. Sponsored by the Government of Belize.
BTL has already agreed to pay severance compensation to former employees that qualify.
BTL's board has approved that we want to pay, that the company wants to move forward without delay and settle with everybody.
But leaders of BCWJ who claim to represent those former employees insist on continuing to protest.
We continue protesting.
Reasonable minds have been asking, why? Here's the answer. The activist senator who is pushing them actually owns a company that submitted to BTL a bill of $183,000 at the rate of $900 an hour for legal advice allegedly provided to BCWJ. And now an internal chat reveals leaders of BCWJ want the former workers to pay them commission from their severance compensation. The proposition reads, everyone should give Emily, Mike, and the other leaders a contribution for their great help in all this. Continued protests are profitable under BCWJ banner. Not so much for the former workers, but for the leaders of BCWJ. It's not only making sense, it's making dollars.
This fight over nationalizing control of telecommunications, the government there seems to want to be an authoritarian government.
Washington is watching, and Belize is becoming a red flag.
For a long time, they were under the radar. They could get away with it.
The Prime Minister and his chairman thought this would go under the radar, but they caught the attention of the White House.
And you saw it in the seriousness of President Trump's national security strategy. They're willing to be aggressive and do whatever they can against these individuals who are taking these actions.
Is a payout for the Prime Minister's family worth American intervention in Belize? They are playing a dangerous game with our country's future, and we are the ones to pay the price. Imagine, a ref calls a technical on LeBron, ejects him, then walks to the bench, puts on a jersey, and checks into the game to take LeBron's place. WTH? That's what happened at the central bank. First, Kareem Michael was a deputy governor for financial supervision, basically the referee for the banks. And while he was in charge of that department, Choice Banks' license was cancelled. Not too long after, Mr. Michael resigned from the central bank and went as a paid private contractor to run the shutdown of the same Choice Bank. When he was finished, he simply walked right back into his old job at the central bank. Who does that? An arrogant Belizean public servant who knows all and thinks he's too big for his judgment to be questioned by anyone.
En Atlantic Bank, tu comodidad es nuestra prioridad. Nuestro centro de contacto está diseñado para mejorar tu experiencia bancaria, con una amplia gama de opciones de servicio al cliente. Ahorras tiempo y esfuerzo. Puedes llamar fácilmente para bloquear o desbloquear tus tarjetas de débito y crédito, realizar consultas de cuentas y acceder a información detallada de tus tarjetas, ya sea que necesites asistencia con la banca en línea, apoyo para comercios o consultas generales. Nuestro equipo está listo para ayudarte. Para mayor comodidad, si todos los operadores están ocupados, puedes dejar tu número y un operador te devolverá la llamada lo antes posible para asegurarse de que recibas el apoyo que necesitas. Para mayor seguridad, es posible que necesitemos verificar tu identidad con un conjunto de preguntas sencillas. Recuerda, Atlantic Bank nunca solicitará tu nombre de tu usuario ni contraseña de Atlantic Online por llamada telefónica, mensaje de texto o correo electrónico. asegurando que tu información personal permanezca segura y protegida. Nuestro equipo de apoyo está disponible de lunes a viernes, de 8 a.m. a 6 p.m. en inglés y en español. Simplemente marca al 223-1212. Esta es la línea dedicada para nuestro centro de contacto. Atlantic Bank se compromete a brindarte un servicio excepcional y las herramientas que necesitas para administrar tus finanzas de manera conveniente y segura. Aprovecha al máximo nuestro servicio del centro de contacto.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
The Belize Government Lotteries Limited, we work to develop social programs in Belize. And so we're already contributing to the NHI, providing funding for the expansion. And now our board of directors recently approved $2 million for improvement in sports. So today we handed over the first $1 million, and by the end of March we'll be handing over another $1 million. And thereafter we hope to be able to contribute $2 million every year.
This will go a long way in terms of getting the programs for sports going, getting some of the facilities going. We have a long way to go from where we want to be, but this $2 million will be a tremendous help. We want to invest in some of the programs, developmental programs. Right now we're working on a sports strategy and of course sports policy and the modernization of the legislation, and we're working on some of the facilities, and then we want to develop some of the programs with the federations and the associations who do the heavy lifting day in and day out. But this money will definitely go a long way, and I'm proud to be a part of this process. I'm proud to be a part of this government.
Your security is our business, so we gonna protect you like a champion, like a champion.
Guess what, Mr. Handsome? Yeah, over there, Champion Security. This is the place to be. What does sign say? Champion Security. Here at Champion Security, we provide quality service. You know why? Such as triology lock, fire alarm, IP camera system, gate operator, biometric lock, and alarm system. Champion Security. Make a go check out where they go on inside of Champion Security. Boy, nice to meet you, my brother. Yes. Tell me a little bit more about Champion Security.
Well, welcome, Mr. Hanson. Here at Champion Security, we offer fire system, alarm system, camera system, gate operator, access control, and also trilogy locks and magnetic locks. Everything you need to do with security systems for residential and businesses, you could find everything here at Champion Security. We also consist of 12 technicians, and we offer technical support 24 hours. So anything you need for your security systems, you could find everything here at Champion Security.
Remember, guys, here at Champion Security, we live by our motto, where your safety is our business. Give us a call now. Don't forget to check us on Facebook, Instagram, and all the social media platforms. And continue to shake it to the max all the way. Champion Security, the best place to be. We care for your safety.
You wanna rent it? It's not a problem. We got remote gate.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
She's been twice charged for trafficking, and this time she's gotten off. 46-year-old Orange Walk resident with origins in Nicaragua, Reina Urbina, walked free today after the most recent charges against her was struck out in the Orange Walk Magistrates Court. Urbina had been facing 2 counts of labor trafficking and 2 counts of sex trafficking. However, shortly before midday, the matter was dismissed following a successful application by her attorney, Dr. Lyndon N. Jones. Jones argued that the Orange Walk prosecution branch repeatedly failed to meet disclosure deadlines as well as court orders. He submitted that these breaches violated Urbina's constitutional right to a fair hearing under Section 6 of the Belize Constitution. The presiding magistrate, Charmaine Gillett, upheld the application and struck out the charges. Urbina was arrested and charged on November 13th of 2025 following a joint investigation by the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Police Unit. Police alleged that she trafficked 2 adult Central American women for purposes of labor and sexual exploitation. Prior to this offense, Urbina pleaded guilty in 2023 for facilitating the commission of an offense after she pleaded guilty to helping a Guatemalan woman enter into Belize illegally. Eliud Miller was today unanimously elected by his fellow councillors to serve as deputy mayor for a second term. And now that he'll be deputy mayor heading into next year's municipal elections, it seems to put him in prime position to succeed his father-in-law, current Mayor Bernard Wagner, who has announced that this is his last term. He said it is a vote of confidence from his fellow councillors.
I feel a great deal of gratitude, right, which I owe to my colleagues on the council for their confidence that they have expressed in me once more by re-electing me as deputy mayor for a second term. And I think that to receive the unanimous support is something that I certainly don't take lightly. No? I am, of course, proud that despite being the youngest member of the council, my hard work and dedication and the genuine commitment that I bring to the council, that they have seen it and that they appreciate it. So I think that brings a great sense of gratitude to me. And I really appreciate the fact that I have been able to earn their respect and their confidence. I'm pretty certain that you all in the media would recognize that this is the most united that the Belize City Council has ever been. All right, you don't see any news of internal friction within the council, and that is through targeted effort, right? That is through targeted effort on my part, on the mayor's part, on all council members' part to remain engaged and to remain focused on the job at hand and on the mandate that we were given by the residents of this city. And so I went into this election today confident, not knowing that all my colleagues sort of supported me today, but confident in knowing that I have showed my colleagues, or I have given them reason to support me, right? And I trusted that they would see my work, understand what I bring to the table, see my dedication that I have shown not only over the past year or two, but throughout my time at the council. I've been at the council for over 7 years now. And so I went into today trusting that. And if a scenario came up where I had the opportunity to support Councillor Katus, I would have done so just like I did back in 2024 when we were first in office.
When asked about the strong possibility that he will offer himself for mayor next year, he didn't give us a definitive yes, but he said when the time comes, he will be ready.
Well, right now, I think my focus, as I shared with you, is on the responsibility that the city, the residents of the city, and my colleagues have entrusted me with, right? I have been re-elected as deputy mayor again, and I take that mandate very seriously. It is not something that I take lightly. And I understand that I will have to do my part over the course of the next year to ensure that we achieve those goals that we set out to achieve. And so there's a lot of work ahead of us, and my priority right now is serving Belize City to the very best of my ability between now and March of next year. Again, I have to highlight, though, that my journey has been a unique one through the council. And so naturally, as you could imagine, there is a part of me that feels that I have to finish the story, right? At some point, I feel that I have to finish the story. I think when that time comes to have that conversation about the future, then I'll cross that bridge then. I will say to you that, yes, it's crossed my mind. Yes, I have the support of my colleagues in that regard as well. But I feel there will be an appropriate time. And of course, there will be the appropriate process by which that kind of thing is determined. And so I just look forward to the continued support of my colleagues, the continued support of the party as well, and of course, the continued support of our city residents. I'm excited about the work ahead. I feel prepared. And like I said, when that time comes, I'll be ready.
At 29, Miller is the youngest councillor. And when those municipal elections come up next year, you'll need to pay attention to the new town boundaries because some of them have shifted. And while the changes are minor, the Elections and Boundaries Department is redoing the voters list ahead of the elections. Chief Elections Officer Josephine Tamai explained more.
We all know that next year we have municipal elections, and this is the first time that we will go into these elections with the new town boundaries. I am certain that some people may not realize that since the 1st of April 2025, there were some changes made to the town boundaries. And so the statutory instruments have been passed, and so now at Election and Boundaries Department, our responsibility is to ensure that persons are placed in the respective municipalities. There are not much changes, and I will say that when it comes to the change that we will be seeing, it would be very minimal in most cases. We have some areas whereby some part of town are no longer within the town boundaries, or within the town limits. And also now we have some villages that were not a part of the town, but now legally they are in these towns. And so these preparations are currently being made so that we ensure that we have an accurate voters list when it comes to the municipal elections coming 2027.
The officers have so far been to the Cayo Northeast and Central areas. Tamai added that they will be informing persons whether they are eligible to vote in a municipality, but that the voter lookup feature on their website is also available. Yesterday, we reported extensively on the National Bus Company. It's in its early days, and the criticisms are myriad. And sitting on the outside is the Belize Bus Association, whose members are the holdouts. Well, they did not join the NBC. Well, the Minister of Transport said that the door will always be open to them.
They had the option to be a part of it and receive any kinds of benefits from having a larger company that can purchase newer buses because it's a bigger company, having whatever incentives that make the company more productive. They had that freedom. So if they decided not to do it, it's because for whatever reason, they may feel that they can have equal service as a national bus company. And we wish for them to be able to do that. So once they can do that and abide by the regulations, then good for them. But we will ensure that those requirements that they have on their road service permits are fully enforced.
And of course, gas incentives. They're talking about the potential getting rid of GST off of gas.
No, not even the national bus company will get that. So I don't believe that that's possible.
The door is closed for any other operator to join?
No, not at all. In fact, I think just yesterday we had two who were not a part of it who are asking to that they have an interest, and that's fine. We welcome them. We will have to take a couple, maybe a few months before we can actually maybe realize that, but we're happy to hear that they are interested in coming in.
So in like a month or two, if there are additional companies that they're still privately owned and they say, you know what, it's not working out for me, would you guys buy us over? Are you considering that?
Yes, that's always, the door has always been open, and we would have wanted as many of them to come in, right? So if they decide afterwards, some of them did say from the beginning, we want to say if this are really true and if it are really happen, well, they're able to see that it is happening, right? So in that case, then they're welcome to the table.
17 bus operators have joined the NBC. The minister also met with representatives of Taiwanese manufacturers to be able to source the new fleet of electric buses. They have been looking on the market to be able to bring 5 buses minimum per month starting in September to be able to change out the fleet.
Over the past 3-4 months, we have been doing our research on potential suppliers of buses. There are two manufacturers from Taiwan that have made now 2 trips to Belize, looking carefully at the market, at the unique characteristics of where our terminals are and the terrain and so forth. And so we continue to have that discussion with them. And that is what we're doing. We are ensuring that we have all the information to make a decision when we put out our tender. Hopefully that should be by May, right? By the end of May. And then we decide on who will be manufacturing these electric buses for us.
The first set of EV buses on the highways were donated in August of 2025. Multiple reports this morning told us that one of them reached the central terminal this morning and could not get the reverse gear to work. And in the Belize Bus Association wants to know what will be the standards for buses in the future. Jones says that as long as they can maintain the standard required to operate as a bus line, there should be no issues in continuing to compete and keep their runs.
The main focus or safety issue is tire, windshield, oil leak, and seats. So if your machine is not leaking, your transmission is not leaking, your tires are up to standard, you carry your fire extinguisher, your spare, etc. So those are just basic things, and those are not threatening things that won't be able for you to continue your service. But we have been working very hard, along with the members, to have them come up to standard. And all the operators at the meeting said they did their inspection, and they passed the inspection. So that was the reason why they have received a letter that they would be receiving their permits.
The Caribbean Development Bank held its annual news conference today in Barbados, where Jason Cotton, the acting deputy director of economics, noted that Caribbean economies recorded slower growth in 2025. Cotton noted that growth across the region decelerated last year. Here's how he puts it.
Excluding Guyana, regional growth decelerated to 0.6% from 1.4% in 2024, as several economies recorded weaker growth or contractions. Service exporting economies expanded more slowly as tourism momentum eased. Once again, climate shocks weighed heavily on performance. Hurricane Melissa struck Jamaica while it was still recovering from Hurricane Beryl, pushing the economy into a second consecutive year of contraction. Service exporting economies are anticipated to record modest growth, largely hinging on tourism and construction. Inflation dynamics in 2026 will be shaped by developments in global commodity markets. This year, beyond the shocks themselves, uncertainty has become more deeply entrenched. This reality makes regional cooperation not just desirable, but absolutely essential. In a more uncertain and fragmented world, vulnerability is magnified when countries act alone, but together we are more resilient.
And the president of the bank also discussed banking policy in the region. He pointed to what is known as the Trade Finance Guarantee Program, where the CDB is using its AA rating to drive down lending rates for MSMEs.
We talk a lot in the Caribbean about the excess liquidity, right? I think we figure somewhere around 7 billion now excess liquidity. And governments say, you know, the commercial banks need to do more. Entrepreneurs say the thresholds are too high for borrowing. Commercial banks are saying, or commercial lenders rather, are saying that the projects are coming forward not fully baked, they're too risky. And here we are sitting on the sidelines with a AA+ rating. So what have we done? We've brought our AA+ rating to the game, right? And we've said, okay, This is what we're going to do. We're going to provide you commercial lenders with a guarantee. That reduces your risk of providing financing to them. But also, because your risk is reduced, we expect a lower rate to also get to these entities involved in trade. And so we expect now for there to be more movement interregionally and internationally within the trade space by virtue of our guarantee.
Later on, we'll have a little more from the press conference as we ask the bank president about the brain drain of highly trained young people. The reports of credit card scams occurring among a ring of BPO employees has been at the forefront of police investigations as of late. And when we spoke to the PM about it, he told us that the persons carrying out these crimes would be sought after to the full extent of the law. But when we asked the Compol, he explained that it's not as easy as one would think, and they would need the cooperation from outside sources as well.
Well, it's a complicated, challenging investigation because it does not have root only in Belize. So it's an extremely challenging investigation, and our investigation are trying to gather as much information as they can to bring the perpetrators them to justice.
What's the most challenging aspect of it?
Because many of the incidents trace back to outside the country of Belize.
And so that requires some outside intervention or reports, tell us.
You remember the complainants, them, majority of them are from outside Belize.
And they would have to come into...
We would need a complainant report.
Outside of that, are there any other laws or regulations that the authorities can look at?
We're investigating it from within what has transpired within the institution, and we're trying to see what evidential material we can put together to bring those individuals to justice.
How concerning is it for the department?
All incidents of crimes, whether it's violent crime or fraud, is of concern to the country and to the Belize Police Department.
Reports are that you all have been able, through operations, to identify certain or alleged operatives from within the BPO sector and otherwise. What's the challenge there if you know who they are?
The investigation is ongoing at this moment. Several individuals have been interviewed, and the investigation is ongoing.
What's the FIU's involvement in this?
In all financial crimes, the Belize Police Department have always engaged our counterparts, the Financial Intelligence Unit.
And is that the case with this one?
Like I mentioned, in all financial crimes, we have engaged the FIU.
After hurricanes or droughts or wildfires, you likely see members of the Belize Red Cross providing assistance across the country. But now they're embarking on a project that will allow them to receive financing to get ahead of these disasters. Anticipatory action refers to a strategy to help save lives and mitigate the impact of extreme events. Today, a conference was held to inform stakeholders about what the strategy can look like.
Belize and Barbados, those two have been identified as the two pilot countries for many different reasons, but we more or less applied an assessment and a criteria, and those two were selected as pilot countries for the English and Dutch speaking Caribbean. The early action protocol really aims for us to have plans in place so that when we get a forecast, we have set out actions to do between the forecast and the time of impact. That is all part and parcel of the Red Cross, Red Crescent's commitment to not only respond post-disaster, but to act ahead of time and pre-disaster. So the protocol in itself would allow the Belize Red Cross to access anticipatory action funding from our draft mechanism, which is the Disaster Response Emergency Fund. So they'll more or less say what they plan to do ahead of the disaster, and then they'll be able to get funds to carry out those actions.
Today we convene the stakeholders because we want to share information and also get information from them for us to be able to develop what we call an early action protocol. And an early action protocol is a document that is going to tell us what to do to be ready in the event of a disaster. As you know, before, we used to prepare to respond to disasters, but with this anticipatory actions, we want to help people prepare before any event. In this way, we'll be able to save not only their lives, but their assets at the same time, so that they can bounce back much easier. If we wait to respond to a disaster, it's harder for anybody to bounce back. There are two types of protocol that we want to develop. One is the full early action protocol, which can be up to 500,000 CHF dollars. And we have the simplified protocol, which could be like 200,000 CHF dollars. And we want to come up with this document, not at the end of this session, but we are going to have 2 or 3 more visits from the team from the Federation for us to come up with a comprehensive plan.
And we take a break now. When we come back, we'll take you out on the waters to meet the Ranza River cruisers. Don't go away.
This newscast is brought to you by Cellular World, your authorized Samsung distributor.
Kite flying is fun, but it can also be dangerous. Fly kites safely by following these tips. Never use wire, metallic thread, or wire-reinforced strings. You could be electrocuted. Remember, even a safely built kite can cause a power outage if it gets caught in a power line. Always use paper, plastic, or wood to build kites. Never fly kites near power lines, in the path of traffic, aircrafts, or near highways. Always fly kites with a responsible adult in open areas, in dry weather, and with clear visibility. Never attempt to remove your kite from a power line. Always call BEL at 0800-235-2273 if your kite gets caught in a power line. Belize Electricity Limited. We care about your safety.
At Atlantic Bank, we stand as more than just a financial institution. We are your partners in progress, dedicated to fostering your success by providing tailored solutions to micro, small, and medium enterprises. Your successes are our triumphs, and every success story deserves to be celebrated. We pledge to stand by you every step of the way. Today, we celebrate the values that define you with your unwavering dedication, steadfast commitment, boundless innovation, resolute work ethic, and unyielding ambition. We will navigate challenges, seize opportunities, and continue building the future together.
Smart for everybody. Smart leading everything. Smart give you everything. Smart offer everything. Smart give you everything. North to the east and the south and the west. Smart are the best. Darling, double up my data and give me all the text. In fact, give me a plan for my family. Unlimited calls, so me like it. And Smart make everybody feel happy. Bringing people together, me want it now. Smart got love for everybody. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. More bundles, data plan. Me want my smartphone, internet in my hand. Call me want my Smart plan. Want it right now.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
La Ruta Maya is 3 days away, and teams are getting their final leg of training in. Today we met with members of arguably the first family of canoeing, the Cruz family, who will be paddling as the Ranza River Cruisers. This year, due to weak sponsorship, they were initially unsure if they would be able to participate despite being on the water for more than 2 decades. But with the help of the Nature Conservancy and the San Ignacio Hotel, they are entering a mixed team. Julissa Roberts met them on the banks.
For over 2 decades, the Ranza River Cruisers, a team made up of members of the Cruz clan of Esperanza, have been paddling in the La Ruta Maya River Challenge. Living along the banks of the Belize River in Esperanza Village, they have been able to create a legacy of paddling excellence. That generational bond continues in this year's race, as Daniel Cruz teams up with his sister Francisca Fender and his son Daniel Cruz Jr. in the competitive mixed category.
We grew up by the river. We love the water, and any sports that has to do with water, we enjoy it. So, and we love, the outdoors and everything. We do a lot of stuff like outdoors. So the canoes just like, we were born to it, doing it. Well, it's a little bit harder for like a mixed team to be up there with a full 3 meals, which is not impossible to be with enough workout and a lot of experience to be up there, and for the 2 guys, to be in good shape and to be pros, a mixed team could actually be out there. And in my case, I have a veteran, my brother, that has been paddling for many years and is a good back guy, one of the best back guy up there, and my nephew that has a lot has gained a lot of experience over the year, that has learned a lot too. So paddling with them, it's a honor to be paddling with them and to get to paddle with them, because whereas with a champion that has just won the Ruta Maya, and to go and paddle a mix, so I'm happy and honored to be paddling with them both.
For the brother, Daniel Cruz Sr., the race has evolved into a means of family bonding, as he has passed on his love for the sport to his sons.
And since I small, we come down, go fishing, come bathe, and then we start paddle, and then when we get for like it, and then we stay. I grow up, get married, then I got my sons, and then I teach them, and then I get for like it though.
And in that, they have developed a passion to protect the river, with Francisca explaining that the cleanliness of the waterway is a vital part of this race.
We grew up here, and then we try, to every time when we come to the river, like if you see some stuff like happening or doing stuff at the river, we try to to keep it, how it's been, where you could come swim. You could we actually, when we run out like of the water, we could drink some of the water from the river. So to try to keep it clean and without, any pollution or anything to the water, so it doesn't affect us when we come and paddle.
The mixed category, made up of male and female paddlers, presents its own challenges, often competing against stronger all-male teams, but this does not bring down the spirits of these determined paddlers. The La Ruta Maya River Challenge has evolved since its inception by the Harrison brothers, and being paddlers for 2 decades, they shared some of their observations.
Well, I seen, that it has been, some years it develops pretty well, and some years, it goes down with some teams, so they, actually, I won't be able to tell you on that why it would do that, Some years you have like 50 odd teams, and some years you have like 40 teams, so I wouldn't be.
But in terms of the competition that you face on the river, has it increased?
Oh, yeah. Like on the mixed team, I think this year the mixed team will be more competitive than any other other categories out there. Because as you guys know, the West Truck is, I don't think West Truck has lost in the mixed team before. So, and they're well prepared. They train pretty well and everything. So for us to go compete against, one of the teams that haven't lost the mixed team, so I think it's gonna be a good enough race. Well, a good enough race. I think better competition than the pro.
And as for Daniel Cruz Jr., he is a former champion, as he was a part of the 2025 champion team Slim and Trim like Guavalim. But for big races like this one, with its consuming 5 days, he said it's difficult to get sponsorship.
Well, it's really important. Without sponsorship, you won't be able to do this race. You need the time, and it's hard without sponsorship. Like this year, we didn't. For this year, we didn't get any sponsorship, and we were looking and looking, but nothing came out, and so we couldn't go. And my two teammates got something last minute sponsorship, and not well, they're stretching it out too. It's not enough, and for us to compete in the pro level with no kind of workout, it's hard. So we gonna try to find more sponsor for next year, and get more training to try to compete in the pro division.
The race begins on Friday morning at 7 a.m., and we expect to see the Cruz family cutting through the water. Jaleesa Roberts, 7 News.
And as it pertains to the controversy over the race ending at the Hullover Bridge, this team of veterans was able to give us a deeper insight. A big part of the competitiveness of the race is actually in the Hullover Channel. That has been a make or break component of the race for many paddlers and has been able to separate the men from the boys.
We don't expect to finish at the Belcan Bridge, but we can decide. The family, then they are the main sponsor. They decide where the race is going to finish, but we may expect to paddle that channel. But if you can't this year, probably next couple years, they finish it again at Belcan.
How does that change the experience for you?
Well, it's still a big difference, because that channel to the finish, the 45 minutes, and from there it decides who gets in there first, or if any team is already a little bit tired, the next team has an advantage to open a gap on the other team, especially if the team is not too heavy. If they're light, they have a big advantage there to the finish.
Because like my brother said, it's, in the channel you expect everything, not just because the first team that went in there, that means, that they're going to win. It gives opportunity to the other teams to come from behind, or even, the team that is going on the front, it allows them to open a gap between. If you want to leave like your other competitors more at the back, that gives you more opportunity, or it gives you to catch the other team down. So it's like I said, it's important for the paddlers to paddle that canal, because some paddlers are looking forward to it, because some paddlers decide, okay, we're going to paddle not hard, on the open water, but as soon as we enter the canal, that's where we're going to make our move. That's where we're going to give it all we got, just to open that gap between the other teams. So it was important. I think it was important for the paddlers, and that's why I think a lot of the paddlers feel disappointed on it, that the organizers didn't think what the paddlers were going to think about it, how they were going to take it, how were they going to feel. And it's like the sponsor too, because without the sponsors, the paddlers can't do anything, and without the paddlers, the sponsor, and the same with the organizer. Without any paddlers, there won't be any race.
When it comes to the sponsors, they do it to help raise awareness, but they are concerned about the volume of waste at the various stops. Land manager at the Nature Conservancy explained further.
First of all, what it does is that it builds awareness, or it affords us a platform to build awareness around the work that we're doing as it relates to freshwater protection and conservation. Like we would have heard the paddlers mentioning, without sponsors, they would not be able to enter into the race. So we see it as added benefit that we are privileged enough to be able to share the resources that we have to support a team to enter this race.
Are there any environmental concerns that you all have when it comes to the commercialism of the different stops?
Um, we do not necessarily have any environmental concerns, but what we would want to speak to as it relates to the commercialization is that waste is managed properly. That is one of the major concerns that we would see as having an impact on the river, because eventually whatever is left discarded out there will somehow make its way into the river. And based on how we look at things holistically at the Nature Conservancy, we're thinking that what happens upstream eventually has an impact lower downstream and even on the wider reef and marine ecosystems.
And to go back to this morning's CDB press conference, the subject of the region's disaffected youth was discussed, Across the Caribbean, youth have high levels of crime involvement, and the educated youth have a high rate of migration to more developed countries. Here's today's discussion about it.
We touch on youth unemployment in the region frequently, but what we have discovered at the bank is an acronym called NEET, N-E-E-T, not in employment, education, or training. 24% of the region's young people are not in education, employment, or training. That's a quarter almost, 1 in 4. How do we reach them? How do we make, we know that youth in Cayman, for instance, also see moving to other countries outside of the Caribbean, even after they have been educated in the region, as a path for which they can grow and raise a family. How do we cause them to stay, such that, as we said, talent isn't our greatest export? So we have resources in both the climate space, but also in the youth development and human capital development space, that regardless of the income level of our countries, we think will be a benefit to our born member countries.
At this October, a play exploring the complexities of an elderly woman dying of cancer and her relationship with a young hospice volunteer is coming to the main stage. And if you've ever wanted to act in a play, well, this is your chance. Curtis Gillett, the producer, is looking for 2 talented women to take on these roles. We spoke with him via Zoom today.
The name of this play is Grace and Glory, with 2 females. And even though the date for us to put it on stage is not until later in the year, we are starting from now because it's a very intricate play, lots of dynamics to it. So we want to start early.
So people who are interested in auditioning, how can they be a part of this play?
So I would love for them to reach out to me at 637-6872. And again, I am looking for females between the ages of 35 to 40. I can even go 30 to 40 and over 70. The play will only have 2 females in it. And so when they call me at the number 637-6872, I will be able to answer all questions that they have. But for this production, only 2 females. Acting is a very serious profession, and because it lets you create somebody who is not you for a brief moment, you get to live someone other than yourself. Grace is a 90-year-old who is suffering from cancer and has checked herself out of the hospice palliative clinic because she wants to go home and die in peace. Glory, the younger person, is a hospice volunteer who shows up at Grace's home trying to convince her that the best place for her is to go back to the hospice or palliative clinic for her final days here on earth. And because of the age differences, their socioeconomic differences, their educational differences, there's a lot of clashing, but at the same time, there's humility. They form a friendship, and lessons are learned. It'll be a most dynamic play that we will be bringing forth. And if there are any businesses that or entities that would like to be a part of it in terms of helping us to meet some of our costs, we'll be most appreciative.
And that's all we have for you for our newscast tonight. Thanks for watching with your news. I'm Indira Craig. Remember, you can find a full transcript of the news at 7newsbelize.com and see the streaming video on our Facebook page. Have a great night. Join me back here tomorrow at 6.